Welcome back to Valiant Hearts, now Chapter 2, Broken Earth.
The
So,
sound.
before seeing what happened with the crash, let's talk about the character that we met. And to do that, we flash back to Paris, 9 months earlier.
Anna was
This
training
is
to
Anna.
prepare for
She's
the
Belgian and has the same name as my sister,
The Germans
weirdly
were only
enough.
20
Huh, your
miles from
sister's name
Paris
is also
when she
Anna.
received a letter
Yeah.
from her father.
She must have
He
loved
wished
Frozen
good
then.
luck.
My mom is called
Um,
Anna, so I guess we have a lot of Annas in our lives.
You know, I also.
biblical meaning,
Hey, you want to know what it's
according to the
also?
Bible, she's the mother of the Virgin Mary.
Well, Anna is one of the most common names out there.
It's.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny. I used to have a girlfriend called Vanessa.
So anyway, the
So
French...
you're copying me.
What? No,
So
no, no.
anyway-
Well, actually, it depends on when you married Vanessa. Then again, probably
I have,
before.
I've been married to Vanessa for like almost 10 years now, actually. So
Okay,
it's sweet
then.
anniversary time.
So that probably was
Anyway.
before I had that girlfriend then.
Anyway, with the Western Front coming close to Paris, more and more people started to get militarized, using something like the taxis to put the soldiers on the front. And since now the French soldiers are starting to, moving onto said front, Anna thinks she wants to do her own part as a nurse and take a taxi of her own. But we need to first get out of here. But anyway, Anna is my favorite character of the game, actually.
Oh?
Not this any other one, but Anna is quite possibly the one that concentrates the message of the game the most. Like I think I mentioned this already, but if I don't, I'll probably do it later. None of the main characters actually use properly a gun when you get to play as them. Yeah, so Freddy still uses like the explosives or some of them throw grenades and stuff like that, but main firearms, not really. There is a sort of anti-violence, undertone. The fact that these characters are regretting what they're doing for the war and are really doing it for necessity. Well, not so much Freddy. Freddy is motivated by revenge, as you will see. But Anna is a nurse, and just like what the Hippocrates of tells, do not kill, she is entirely dedicated to saving people, regardless of the color of the uniform, as the songs tell. And that's what her gameplay, translates to. She doesn't have to kill anyone in the games, in her chapters, but instead she has to save them, and of course solving puzzles as well. She displays a great amount of humanity, as you will see almost in a second. Basically, just this beginning section of her having to get out of the house and return the taxi, basically. And as you may notice, that's her father, which is, if you don't remember, the professor that Baron von Dorf is holding hostage on the blimp. So, there we go. So we need to throw a call and a pigeon first. By the way, this minor thing that you're hearing right now is actually part of a full song that was composed for this movie. So, sorry, for this game. So if you check it on YouTube, it's actually there to listen to. I really recommend it. It's in French. Anyway, there's someone that may need us outside. Also, a letter. From a Belgian civilian in Paris. I forgot if I don't mention, but at least for my country's version, but I'm guessing also for the other countries as well, some of the artifacts are specific to the country. For example, my country replaces one of these letters, that maybe might be from one Belgian person, with one from the Alpine. Oh, there you go. Access to the Marne. So it's time to move with a jolly theme. Anyway, but for example, replaces with one that is tied to my country's culture. It's still a historical artifact, an authentic one, just one that is more keen to what was going on here around my parts. It is kind of it's sort of like a take-old localization, but in a kind of way. Anyway, first thing first, the wheel. Then we need to find a newspaper, the Petit Journal. Then we need to find a wrench that corresponds to the gear that we need to, move to get the taxi done. But then we need also water. Meaning, that's very inconsiderate. There we go. Now we need a square one for that one. These beginning puzzles are relatively easy. Again, this is just for Anna's chapter. These are only a minor thing. Most of the gameplay, the core gameplay, would be about saving people, from injuries. So now we need something to get the water into. Oh, and it seems that the kid got injured herself, so perfect timing to test Anna's main gameplay, which is done through a series of cuties. It's similar in structure to a rhythm game, something like Guitar Hero, where you see the band-aid moving around and you have to press the corresponding button. They do start first, but of course as the main game progresses they get more complex, for lack of a better term.
You see, this is exactly why I could never be a nurse.
Because you fail QTEs.
Yes.
Not to mention, some of this gets ridiculous. Like a soldier is dying from an amputation, and Anna prefers to just remove a bullet instead for one of the actions. And here we go. And now it's time to move.
Every little helps, I guess.
And it's time to move not just to any particular motif, you'll hear in a second, but to the Can-Can, and not just any version, the Ren and Stimpy version. I'm not even kidding, that's literally how it was composed for the Ren and Stimpy show.
Interesting choice.
So anyway, yeah, this is a classic, it's sort of a reverse chase scene where the obstacles are coming towards you and you need to move accordingly.
It's very similar to the arcade sequence from the King's Quest 2 remake. That is literally the same concept.
So it's suddenly a driving rhythm game.
Kinda. And it's completely in tune with the music.
I love when they do stuff in tune with the music, like during Lone Ranger in that train sequence.
That's rude, come on guys. Jesus.
Mood whiplash.
Wrong whiplash. Okay, now you're just doing purpose. Jesus Christ.
It definitely is.
So,
mood
Tia, would you
whiplash,
call this
but
your
it
favorite part of the
looks funny.
game?
There's a later one that's even better. Let's just say that there's a second sequence similar to this later on, which uses a combination of themes that you will see in time. Oh Jesus!
Audio
Also,
dissonance, my favorite.
Also, you get a trophy for not reporting damage to one of these sequences.
Nice.
As you can see, I'm doing this flawlessly.
I
There
get
we
the
go.
feeling you've practiced
Nailed it.
this.
I'm surprisingly good
September
for,
7th,
at least on a medium level for even
taxis
games.
drove all night.
Unfortunately, I still
Proud
can't
to
do
help
the more
soldiers
complex
reach the
ones.
line.
Like, fuck me, I'm not gonna try Taiko Drum Master.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
Have I ever told you?
unfortunately, now the reality of the war hits Anna straight in the face.
We go straight from what's slight comedy to this.
It's
A
like
corpse
the
in
go
front of
with
your
flaming
taxi.
core sequence in Mulan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is so powerful that he actually interrupts the musical number.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, see, due to the lack of trenches in the first part of the war, it was probably the most brutal. Later, it still didn't get better. The game, I will tell, like almost one dead per minute. It was like insane. But regardless, it meant that for people like Anna, the nurses, there was always job to do and very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And even she reports also that in her journal, as well. But yeah, let me get back to what I was saying about Anna. That is also she was my favorite character because of, her compassion and respect for human life before, her country, because she's Belgian technically. So her country has been, if you don't know, Belgium was brutalized by the Germans in World War One. Also World War Two, but also World War One was the first to do it. Belgium was declared neutral, but German soldiers invaded it and pretty much almost destroyed everything in their path just to get an advance on France. So Anna has all the reasons to be super pissed at Germans, especially since one of them has kidnapped her father.
Oh,
But if she finds a German soldier, she will still heal him, regardless of who is it in the game, as you will see. This demonstrates a compassion that overboards simple patriotism, and I think that's the best sentiment one should have. I don't want to be a fatalist or anything, but hypothetically speaking, for the new initiated of the audience that don't know, my job is not properly a nurse, but something that resembles it in that kind of sense.
Devoted herself,
Hold on.
body and soul, to healing the wounded and the sick. Every life saved was another small victory over the war. The conflict, however, raged on.
Unfortunately. Again, the game puts a lot of emphasis about the war being this monster. Anyway, in this sequence you need to heal a bunch of injured people about procuring some particular items. Anyway, let me continue. So, if hypothetically speaking, for any kind of reason, my country will have to be conscripting people like me for war, for necessity, aside from my profession, I'm not sure if I will be able to be a proper soldier. Not for a sense of cowardice, mind you. I joke a lot about edginess, but and how I think for works of fiction, characters should be determined to how they live and how they die. But to be honest, I'm not even sure if I will be able to have the idea, the physical and the mental idea of actually killing another human being. But that's what I'm also good at instead, helping those in need, the injured, the disabled, all the people that, are in need of that. And that's why I respect Anna. Also for the fact that, similar to her, I don't share a lot of, of priority on patriotism. Of course, it doesn't help about the country where I live in and what has happened in the last couple of years, decades and years anyway. But even in general, I do believe, I know it seems to be an obvious thing to say, but I do believe human life takes precedence over everything. Again, obvious thing to say, but these days you never know.
Reminds me a bit of the Civil War, the American Civil War, where nurses would actually take soldiers from both sides of the war off the battlefield and all that.
But anyway, with less sentimentalism, what you actually need to do. As you saw, if you manage to heal the people here, Anna will get some items that she needs to progress through the level. In this case, we obtain a saw that we need to use for the tree that you saw over there. Also, apparently one of the items is a pair of socks, which very useful for the climate there. Actually, don't know, Jova, did you have to do the military service?
Me? No, I didn't have to.
Okay, so because I don't know how the legislation works there in America.
I'm pretty sure it's not mandatory in America.
Yeah, for a long time in my
It did
country,
used to be, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, same. The military conscription, but the military, there was like one obligatory year of military for every young person here in my country. But due to the, I think it's called in English, a conscience objectioners. I think that's the term. I'm gonna search it in the meantime. Basically, to the idea of not having to force people to do military job for one reason or the other, and instead, my country opted for an alternative, which is 1 year of a job endorsed by the state, essentially. So essentially, you're still doing a favor for the country, just in a different way, but it's not the military, purpose. And so I did with the
You have
profession
jury
that I
duty.
studied to.
Very interesting.
Let me check what is if it's as equivalent in English. Cheery? Yes.
Yeah, I said, do you have jury duty? Because I know America has.
Oh yeah, jury duty. Everyone's
I
favorite.
actually don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Oh, there you go. That's what it apparently in English is called alternative civilian service.
Huh. Very nice.
There you go. There you have it.
I know South Korea still has its 2 years mandatory military service for all males.
I think sure that's because of the delicate state where South Korea is, unfortunately, at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's ever not been that way, that's the thing.
No, it's been a thing since the 50s. Unfortunately, the tension between the two Koreas is, still a bit high right now. Anyway, what I was searching, yeah, there you go, in English, the movement, or the way of thinking that I was talking right before, is called consensus objectors. Basically, people who opposed the military year, while still offering an alternative, offering still to have the country instead of being lazy assholes and doing that. It could have been for different reasons, like freedom of thought, conscience of religions, but the idea at the end of the day was still the same.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, first attempts were not received well, of course, but eventually they actually allowed this change to happen. Anyway, we're actually almost done here. As you see, there you go, we also have the bottle of water. We have healed so far, only French soldiers. There you go. Oh, but there's someone else. Oh, it's a German soldier. And see, this is exactly what I meant. And that doesn't say anything, because remember, even the gibberish does count. And that doesn't say anything, doesn't, move away or anything. She just does her job. And that's it. It's not like she's ignoring the fact that he's supposedly an enemy, but she's prioritizing the fact that he's in a good, health state over everything. So
That's good.
The French officers were talking about Belgium.
Oh.
The German army was about to experiment.
Oh
with a
no.
weapon near Ypres.
Oh dear.
The nerve.
Anna
Yeah.
got en route to warn her father
The
about
chloridium
imminent
gas.
danger. Reaching the outskirts of the city, Anna was greeted by the screams of sirens.
The sirens would only get worse with other wars.
At least we're not going to Silent Hill. But yeah, like I said, Germany was absolutely brutal in with Belgium. Ypres was completely destroyed to the ground. Nothing was left standing. Like, I'm gonna mention these later on, but just imagine that. Even aside from the cultural value, imagine an entire city completely disappearing. It's not like it's a small village or anything. Ypres was at least medium size. Again, it's another showcase of the horrors of the war. And again, it's not, as you can see from the diary, it's not like Anna is impassable in front of this event. She's scared shit like everyone else. But she has her duty and her conscience before everything else as well. So it's time to save some Belgians. I was just checking if there were artifacts behind. Again, collectibles be damned, but no. Another thing, I mentioned weapons about before, but another thing that you can see is Anna's quote-unquote weapon that she has. which is it's a horse whip, one of those things that you use for horses. If you may notice, the other characters have more slightly brutal weapons. Emil has first a spoon, then a shovel. Freddy uses his fists and then throws explosives and stuff like that. And Carl, of course, has the main equipment of a German soldier. But Anna also has these more soft kind of weapon, and she does, like I said, she doesn't even use it for combat or for bludgeoning people with. It's mostly used for clearing the way out, like this.
Very nice.
Again, the fact that these people have inhaled chloridium gas, and that's what she's using. Okay, that's fair enough. Simple CPR. That makes sense for this. There you go. And there you go, she also opens the door and gives an artifact. Basically, this chapter also reinforces the goodwill of Anna. The more people you save, the more there's a chance they give you, one of them has an artifact to give to you.
Very nice.
Oh. Cute. Next building. Oh, it's the church, and we can't follow because there's the gas there.
Yeah.
But we managed to find the keys anyway, so it should be nice. There we go. Also, I think by the time of we're recording this, in case you need to know, the game should be actually on sale, at least on the PlayStation Network or on Steam. I forgot which of the two. So I'll probably when we're over with it, it's not gonna be. But if you want to take to think about it, I really suggest for you to actually give it a try. As you may see, it's not a super complex game, unfortunately, because of a lot of factors. But for a sale, for a low price, I think it's easily affordable.
I already own it.
I forgot, what system?
PlayStation.
Okay. There you go.
Give it a good whack.
Yeah. It even got a Switch port recently, Jova, so if you want to play it on the go, there's that.
Very nice.
Although
Hey, Ubisoft, remember it exists!
Although it took more time, I think, than Child of Light to get a Switch port, I think. Or will you do it at the same time? I don't remember.
I guess when it comes to games that use the UbiArt engine, Child of Light is, I guess, the more recognized and more
known,
pined for when it comes to a sequel, since... Imagine a sequel to Valiant Hearts. I guess it'll be World War II then?
Yeah, I think it would be best if done for the upper anniversary, because remember, one of the reasons of the release date of this game was to commemorate the 100-year anniversary for World War I, 1914-2014.
Huh.
So,
funny, that's also the year that a YouTube channel called The Great War began.
Well, it was an occasion, too unresistible.
Yeah.
So I guess we need to expect something for 2039.
Actually, they've already started their sequel. Granted, they also made sure
I'm talking about a sequel to Valiant Hearts.
Ah.
If by that point Michelle Ancel will still be working at Ubisoft or not.
Oh, was Michelle the one behind
I think
this game?
I think it kickstarted the project. I will need to look between parts.
Oh, yeah, this does feel like a Kickstarter game.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a couple of his trademark humor in this game.
Okay,
Again,
that explains a lot. So this was a Kickstarter game. It definitely does have that Kickstarter feel.
No. Not Kickstarter in a sense that he thought about the project initially. It wasn't on Kickstarter.
This is an Ubisoft game, Jova. Why would it need to be kickstarted?
Well, some of WayForward's games have to be kickstarted, despite the fact that they've been able to publish some of their own.
Ubisoft is a major publisher.
Yeah, that's the thing, Joe. Ubisoft doesn't. Sorry, WayForward is not exactly swimming in money. So,
Yeah, weren't they the ones who published the physical version of Shovel Knight?
I don't.
I
That's the,
thought Yacht Club Games did it themselves.
yeah.
Oh wait, oh yeah,
Are you
that's
sure?
right. It's the other way around. Yacht Club Games were actually the one who published
It
the
was-
physical version of Shantae and the
It made
Pirate's
them enough
Curse.
money that they could do it themselves, I believe.
And would you
We
believe,
followed
Shuri,
this
that
mo-
Yacht Club Games were also the ones who published the physical version of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse? Like, dang. And keep in mind, these were guys who used to be part of Way Forward. So in a way, it's like the son becoming the father to the father.
Well,
in a
from what I
sense.
understand, their departure wasn't like any
Oh, no,
kind
no,
of
no, 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 no. I'm not suggesting their departure was bad. I'm saying it's like, well, it's so ironic how Yacht Club Games made enough money off of one game to the point where they could afford being the publishers of a physical version of a Way Forward game.
And that's the thing. Currently, Way Forward are actually themselves outsourcing to other places like Limited Run for physical releases of their stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
Which also
For
reminds me of
better or
another
for worse
thing.
results from what I've heard.
Which reminds me of another thing, Joe, that by the time we're recording, well, even by the time I'm gonna publish it, but we're actually close to the release date of the King of Cards expansion for Shovel Knight, the last one.
Yes, along with that battle mode that we've been promised.
So maybe after that, Yacht Club can start to move on with a new game.
You do know that they're making that Shovel Knight spin-off. I forget what it's called. The one of... Wait, you didn't know about that game?
No.
Oh! Huh. They're making a new Shovel Knight game. Let me look it up and see what it's called.
Not a sequel.
Yeah, it's not a sequel. It's sort of a spin-off. Yeah, weird. They've even introduced two of the characters. Let me see.
Anyway,
The game
that
is...
formula
oh,
is
God.
gas which produces water in the lungs in terrible ways.
Anyway, the game is called Shovel Knight Dig. No, literally it's called Shovel Knight Dig.
I think I remember that.
Yep, it's their new spin-off of the series they're making.
Yeah, I think I saw a trailer. And noticed me in order to open that safe, I needed to spot the different paintings with that.
Uh-oh.
Where's on that? Oh shit. Oh no.
SOS indeed. Anna, you can't just run in place like that. Jesus. This is a serious
You need to run
moment.
and start, Jova.
Unfortunately, we need to get the grenades from the well so we can. Anyway, there you go. Let's use it here. And let's go help her. There you go. Come on. There we go. Finally.
Phew. Had a few
Yeah, we
close
made it.
calls today.
She just inhaled gas and come on, if that doesn't help.
Yeah, Anna, you're supposed to be the master of this. Well, maybe not the master, but you're supposed to know this stuff.
Maybe she's going somewhere with this.
Oh,
This is innovative medical care, guys. Don't worry, she knows what she's trying a new method.
She's a pioneer, come on.
you know, my mom's a doctor, and I've never seen this be the way that you treat someone with, you know,
The governess
that kind of
revealed to her
problem.
that her father,
There we
an
go.
eminent scientist, had been kidnapped by Baron
Yeah.
who was eager to use scientific advances in warfare. Anna set
And
out in
that's
pursuit of
where
the
she
battle,
unites
and
with
encountered
Freddy and Emil.
and Freddy.
It's all
Destiny
coming together.
brought them together. They had survived the enemy's wrath. Their gunfire, bombardments, gas attacks.
Can this marriage be saved?
Who knows? The answer may surprise you.
See you for the next part when we see what happened to the crash.
See you
See ya.
then.
Yep.